TNN TV proudly presents an explosion press conference.
Okay, member of the press. First I want to say I'm really ill and I will make this as short as I can. First I want to say that the deliberations were conducted with mutual respect and on a serious way. But they were conducted in a very civil as well as in a very private way for a subject, a matter as serious as this one. And we came to Geneva determined. As President Obama has said, we want to make sure that Iran does not acquire a nuclear weapon. For this reason, we came back today. We also come back to narrow our differences concerning the issue. And I can tell you without any exaggeration that we not only narrow differences and clarify those that remain, but we made significant progress in working through the approaches to these questions of how one bring in a problem that guarantees disputes will be measured. There is no question in my mind that we are closer now and that we, with good work and good faith, over the course of the next weeks, we can in fact secure our goal. I will let you two questions, please go ahead.
So, William? Shall I say my name? I think you guys know me. Each has to represent. What? So.
That's the story.
Should I find this secretary? All right. Isn't the bacteria?
I have to say again now.
Isn't the US showing a lack of strength with offering Iran a solution without defining any sort of real,
I got your point, I think.
yeah.
And I think that it's necessary to say that we conducted and we voted for the sanctions, that we were able to take some rest that Iran comes back to the table. Iran is back on the table, so it would be kind to show even some respect and recognizing that Iran is going back to the table. And this is why the sanctions, this is the reason why I voted for the sanctions. So Iran is back on the table and now we are negotiating this topic.
So,
right?
There was no solution. Why?
As I said, that it was very, very, let's not say private, but we try to convince each other and trustworthy, to build up trust. And we are in a good way, I think, to cope with all these issues, but the way is a way. Yeah.
Yeah, and one last question concerning our allies in Israel. Don't you feel that you abandoned their protection in some way? Because Prime Minister Netanyahu was very upset Friday of the way, especially you, Mr. Secretary of State, were talking with Iran. Don't you, isn't it, and I mean we've seen it the last 5 years of Mr. Obama's presidency, have you forgotten Israel? Have you forgotten Israel? That's my question.
We are talking about to prevent Iran from a nuclear war. That's the topic in the Geneva talks. Israel is not a part, you're right, but I say, and as President says, we will hold our allies, and the answer is no. We don't forget, and we don't forget anything.
Mr. Netanyahu felt this way, so I'm just...
Then you have to talk with Netanyahu and ask this question to him.
Yeah, but I mean, you should talk with him because I'm not a diplomat. You are.
Thank you.
I want to thank you. You don't want to take some more questions from media?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
now NPT?
I think that's also a question that we have to ask Israel, but I think the gap between the solutions in this area is one of the reasons, I guess. There are some treats what Israel is not able to cope with so far. But this question should be come to Israel.
Israel is not on the list.
I have wrote this list. I don't have anything to do with it.
Okay, thank you, Secretary. Thank you for your press briefings. There's another question.
Dear press members, China sees a positive development on the Iranian issue, especially the Geneva talks. This positive progress has resulted from predominantly two actors, the delegate from Iran and the United States. On one side, we see that President Rouhani is willing to make progress in this point, and on the other side, we welcome the constructive attitude from John Kerry and the US delegation. It's important to go on in this direction. We see that there is trust built, and we're looking forward that the negotiations between Iran and the IAEA and the P5+1 parties will go on and bring final results. Thank you.
Any questions from media? China's representative? We are media people.
Which country?
China. Good question.
Okay, thank you. So, Roger.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the Russian Federation is pleased by the productivity of the Geneva talks. Even though no final agreement has been reached, the productive atmosphere during the talks cannot be emphasized enough, which caused for ministers for foreign affairs to change their schedule in order to be able to take part in the talks. On the one hand, we take notice of France's harsh criticism concerning Iran's plutonium-producing reactor. On the other, we would like to point out that according to the IAEA statements, there is no evidence of Iran building more facilities of the kind mentioned above. Such facilities would be mandatory for further military nuclear ambitions. We are aware of Israel's security concerns. The Russian Federation strongly recommends all states not to use military means to solve the issue. Such violent short-term approaches would further destabilize the region and would definitely be the cause for a human disaster. As Minister Lavrov said, all concerned parties should show the maximum political will in an effort to find the necessary solutions. Minister Lavrov added that the lengthy talks have laid the foundation for joint work to find a diplomatic solution to the long-running dispute over Iran's nuclear program. He was also very pleased by the attendance of US Secretary of State John Kerry in an effort to promote approaches that are acceptable for Iran. We believe that at this stage, this has special importance, Lavrov said. We are ready to continue the talks and are pleased that November 20, 2013 has been set as a date for an additional conference. The ongoing process shall not be stalled, and all concerned parties should focus on the progress of the talks, even though some countries are still worried with certain issues of the Iranian nuclear program. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will take no questions at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to communists.
Really?
Please introduce yourself.
Distinguished members of the press, thank you for convening with me here. I'm François Hollande, President of France. First and foremost, let me convey my condolences to the Iranian regime. As some of you maybe have heard, the Iranian Secretary of State for Industry has been assassinated this weekend, and we convey our condolences in this matter. On the issue of Iran and the proliferation crisis, you may be wondering why France decided not to accept the drafted proposal. There are mainly three reasons why France holds this very unconventional position. First and foremost, there's the concern of the uranium stockpile, which is highly enriched uranium stockpile, and the question whether the stockpile could not be reduced to a more safer amount of 5% enriched uranium. The second reason why we could not vote in accordance with our partners on this issue is that the ARAG, heavy water research reactor, still poses a problem, and we know that there has been made progress on this matter yesterday, as a framework for coordination agreement has been reached between Iran and the IAEA, which has not been part of the drafted proposal of Saturday evening's discussions. And third, we are concerned about Israel's security, both in the region and as a nation state, because the Iranian authorities have continuously threatened it. Inter alia said that it would be wiped off the world map, and this is unacceptable. So when we talk about lifting sanctions, let me be clear about this. We will only be talking about lifting sanctions if there is a unanimous decision, an agreement which incorporates Iran to become fully transparent and to comply with IAEA safeguards and any resolutions that the IAEA Board of Governors may pose. Thank you.
Well, TNM again. First of all, I want to make a statement before I ask a question. We want to thank France for their position, really being the only country showing strength and showing what it needs to be a force, not unlike the US who simply don't do that anymore. What I wanted to ask is, we had an interview with you, Mr. Hollande, a few weeks ago, where you more had a position of, well, we should wait and see what's going to happen. What caused this shift of position of the position of yours, that you're now really protecting Israel and taking the role the US should take?
We have not shifted our position in this matter.
Good have.
No, we have not shifted our position in this matter. We are not willing, and this is in accordance with what the Israeli authorities are saying, we're not willing to agree to a step-by-step solution in this matter. We are willing to talk about a 100% solution to be found. What we're not willing to accept is any agreement to be reached with Iran that incorporates only a couple of issues. But there are still so many issues, and let me maybe shift the focus now on yesterday's agreement that has been reached between the IAEA and Iran. This still does not incorporate all the issues that still need to be resolved.
What other issues?
So in a way you could say that this, excuse me.
What other issues do you think should be included?
Full transparency for the IAEA.
So
in
unless
a way,
Iran doesn't,
if you're insinuating that France has shifted its position now, we've always had this approach.
I'm just repeating what you told me a few weeks ago, but that's fine. Have you been overpowered by your foreign minister, Mr. Fabius? At some point? You have not. Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions from the media? Thank you, Mr. President.
of the UK to the UN. First of all, I would like to say that the UK is glad that an agreement between the IAEA and Iran was reached. That's the first important step. Regarding the Geneva talks, we first want to thank our partners for their commitment and for fruitful talks. A lot of progress was made, and we hope the remaining gaps that exist can be closed on the next round of negotiations. Unfortunately, the opportunity for an agreement was not seized, but there's no need to rush, and all remaining issues should be considered. We should now contemplate in confidence-building measures. Mutual blaming for the outcome of the talks undermine confidence. Therefore, the UK would like to call on all parties to keep up the good work without blaming and speculations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Dear members of the press, as Germany, we can only reiterate that we strongly support the enforcement of the NPT and that it is highest priority to us that a solution in the conflict with Iran is reached as soon as possible. Significant progress was made at the EU+3 talks in Geneva, and when the talks continue on November 20th, we are convinced that a solution can be reached if all the nations are willing to play a constructive role. And we strongly appreciate Iran's willingness to contribute to a solution, and we are convinced that such a solution is also in the best interest of all the countries in the region. And yeah, without doubt, the success of the Geneva talks would be a historical step towards the long-term goal of a nuclear weapon-free world. Any questions?
Yes. Why did you remain so silent during the talks? We didn't hear anything from Germany, in fact.
Maybe the press did not hear something, but there was talks between all the countries. Everybody played their role. We also did.
So, what role? If you say you played a role, please define it.
Well, we had very constructive talks within the European Union. We had very constructive talks. I mean, it's called the EU+3 talks. We are all part of these talks, and yeah, maybe it was not so obvious from the outside, but everybody made some contributions to the solution.
So the question for Germany is maybe, because you were more on the outsiders, I guess, can you tell us what, in fact, was causing that there was no solution found? Maybe you can give us an insight.
Well, I think that a solution can be found and will be found.
No, but couldn't be past weekend, that's what I was talking about.
Well, you know, there are always some positions that are against such a solution. We are on our way, and a solution will be found, but there's no need to rush, and we can't rush things, you know. We have to find a good solution, and good solutions take time.
So you're leaving France alone with its position?
No, we don't. We have very good collaboration.
All right. Wait, any more questions from the media? Where are the media people? Where's the media? Media has left? No? No more questions. Okay, thank you.
Thanks everyone for coming. I'm sure you want to know about the meeting last week. It has been a meeting to which I was pleased to invite Minister Sarif, and a meeting of the EU+3 ministerial level with the directors convened and chaired by myself. And it was a very substantial meeting. We learned a lot. We had a good and constructive atmosphere and it was very energetic. Although we did not finalize an agreement, we could touch very central issues. The substantial part of this discussion was to have the opportunity to hear from the foreign minister about the situation in Iran. I repeat that it has been a very fruitful dialogue. We had the chance to learn about each other's positions, which restores the international confidence in the exclusive peaceful nature of the Iranian nuclear program. And let me finish my press statement by saying that I would appreciate it a lot if all partners pay tribute to the sensitivity of the contents of these talks, so that the progress of our talks will not be endangered. So please respect the ongoing negotiations and don't ask me for very much details, because I think that will not build up trust in our partners. We need to let them know that we trust each other, so that they feel free to talk to us. We really appreciate that we agreed on having an opportunity to keep on talking about those unresolved issues. So when you ask your questions, please keep that in mind.
You were looking at me very much when you were saying that. So. She was looking at me all the time when she was saying it, so I felt a bit addressed.
Still your own choice.
Yeah, I mean, I have a question, which is not going too much into detail, as you said. And,
Give it a try.
the thing that I wanted to ask is, as you were, and all the European states before you were talking about finding a common position, is France going to be a role model for you? A role model. Is what France did the way the European Union will go? Is Europe committed to France, or are they going to support? Are they going to support their French brothers?
Well, as you know, we are a union. So
yes, you're a union, so you should be one.
No, we have
United States is a union as well. So.
You know that we are federal, but we respect very much the individual country's position. We are very conscience oriented, you know that, and we will find an agreement. By the way, I don't think that these objections France made so far in these talks are very negative, because since they brought up, as they already announced, there are still unresolved issues that we still have to work on. So it's very constructive that they also find the possibility to talk about their concerns. So it's very constructive that they bring that up, you know, because we are conscience orientated. So we need feedback and we need the critical thought, even though from the countries.
So you share France's concerns, but you're just too shy to express them.
Well, it's never wrong to ask a question.
That's a statement.
What I just said is that if somebody utters a question, a critique, a doubt, and they ask it in these talks, then you have the possibility to resolve the issue, because then you get a response. And we have a very good basis right now with the Iranian government, with the ministers. So these things can be solved. If you don't ask, you'll never know.
That's a statement. I'm going to take it as that. Yeah, that's fine. I think there are no more questions from my side.
Are there more questions from the others?
Questions? Please. Yes or no?
I think that's a mistake every time.
No question?
Okay. Just to fill up time, maybe an additional question from Tiana. I just want to know, in not a very detailed manner, I'm just referring to that, could you describe where the major pain points during the talks were? Major pain points, the points where it becomes tricky between the partners and Iran?
Well, you know, we had already several drafts and proposals that we put on the table, and you always find, and you would be surprised what very easy points that was very difficult because of their implications. So, if you want to know about our proposals, we offered so far didn't find them, but please respect that our official proposal right now will not publish.
All right, you're not willing to say something about that. All right.
Unfortunately, I can't.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, mediation.
Dear members of the press, I'm Mohammed Kazai. I'm the permanent ambassador of Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran. First of all, merci beaucoup, Monsieur Hollande, for your condolences. I can see. Here. Now to the Geneva talks. We were really hopeful to reach an agreement this week. I cannot talk for the other sides though. The ingredients were there, and we believed that there was a general understanding of everyone involved. We've gone beyond that, and we have agreed on the elements that have to be incorporated in each one of these steps. What is important is to prepare a solid agreement that all sides can be happy with, and that all sides can sell to their populations. This is really crucial for us, because the Iranian public is very skeptical about the process, and I believe rightly so, because we haven't had a very positive experience in the past. It was only natural when we started dealing with details that differences of views arrived. But we're working together, and we're hopeful we will be able to reach an agreement when we meet again. The Islamic Republic of Iran acted rationally and tactfully during the negotiations. As we have said to the negotiating side, we will not answer to any threat, sanction, humiliation or discrimination. What we're looking for was political will and determination in order to end this phase and more to end a game, to start an end game. But I think we are all on the same wavelength. It's only normal that the 6 nations have different views and their own national interests, and they need to agree on some statements. And now I want to hand the word to Mr. Sarif, our foreign minister.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Mohammed Jawad Sarif, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Iran. I am glad to announce that we had very constructive talks which lead to a joint statement on a framework work for cooperation between the IAEA and the Islamic Republic of Iran. This underlines our willingness to find a solution for the open questions. I hope that with the submission of these new proposals by Iran, we have been able to open a new chapter of cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you for your statements.
So, the first question is concerning a more special topic. Francis mentioned it before, the Iraq land. How are you going to handle that situation? What's the offering from Iran? Because Iraq poses a serious danger, as we know by now. And are you going to shut it down just in order to reach it? Or is Iraq like a holy cow that you want to?
Telling by your eye contact, your question is to me?
Yes.
Or to...
It's to both of you. Both of you can...
Actually, we will not have any questions.
I could say just
they know what they want.
a few things.
If you want to answer, you can.
We're still at an early stage, and we don't give away details to the press just right now because we are fearful that this could hinder our progress. I think Germany said the same thing, that we don't want to not destroy, or we don't just want to hinder our progress with other countries, and it's all about confidence building.
Okay, another question. We heard of all the members that you caused the failure, basically, of the talks in Geneva. What's your position on that? Did you really cause the non-agreement that happened, or would you cause the responsibility to the other countries?
I wouldn't say that we caused the failure, the so-called failure. I would say it's only natural that these 6 nations have different views and they all have their own national interests. And I wouldn't go that much into detail, but it's just a normal process that because we are still at an early stage, just like I said, and we hope to resolve the remaining issues when we meet again. It's not really a failure, it's just like everybody has said something and then we have to talk to each other again and then we reach an agreement. It's a normal process.
Okay, well, as you won't give away too much technical details, my last question would be obsolete, so thank you.
There is another question.
Is there a chance that you will stop enrichment of uranium?
Do you want to say something?
It's our national right to enriching uranium.
Because you try to get a lower level of enrichment.
Yeah, it's really technical detail, and we, as we've said, we are in talks with the EIR, and we try to resolve the issues that have been created by the press or I don't know how to say it, but we try to be cooperative and transparent, and we are sure and we are hopeful that this will be a first step to resolve the remaining issues.
Okay. Any further questions from the media? Thank you. I would like to ask the Director General of the agency. Yes, nachher. First, agency.
Ladies and gentlemen, people from the press, as you've just heard, we have issued a joint statement with Iran on our progress. The progress is as it follows. It's a framework for cooperation. We agreed on this, and we will have, or Iran will have 3 months to fulfill the 6 points we have negotiated. These 6 points are that we agreed on the managed access to a uranium mine, on managed access on relevant information on the heavy water production plant. That is not the IR-40, it's a different site in Ara. That Iran will provide information on new research reactors. That's the third point. The fourth point is information regarding the indication of 16 new sites for enrichment and construction of nuclear power plants. The fifth point is the clarification of the announcement by Iran regarding additional enrichment facilities. And the last and sixth point is further clarification of the announcement made by Iran with respect to laser enrichment technologies. So these are the 6 points. Iran will have till February to address these points. After that, we will report this to the Board of Governors, as it is the common sense to do. And so this was our joint statement. I think you've all read this. In addition to that, I would say capacity of Director General. This is of course the start, and we will of course address other issues that are mentioned in the annex of the 2011 board report. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. So, questions? Director General?
Not really.
No,
To be honest.
well said.
Okay, press members.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I quote,
Israel must be wiped off the map. Zionism is a term of corruption that will be wiped off the face of the earth. It is a cancer cell that must be removed from the body. The Zionist regime is heading toward an annihilation. They should know that they are nearing the last days of their lives. Israel is destined for destruction and will soon disappear. These are the exact words of former Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Some might think that under President Rouhani, Iran has changed and has become more reasonable. But under Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, he has also referred to Israel as a cancerous tumor. The perpetual subject of Iran, he has explained, is the elimination of Israel from the region. There is, according to him, only one solution to the Middle East problem, namely the annihilation and destruction of the Jewish state. Several years ago, during an Iranian military parade, a Shahab-3 missile was decorated with the banner, "Israel must be uprooted and wiped from the pages of history." Then there's the current case of the Syrian civil war. By now the estimates are that about 100,000 people have been killed with the support and help of Iran and the Iranian leadership. Israel had to attack targets in Syria several times, destroying weapons shipments from Syria to the Lebanese terrorist organization Hezbollah, which is also massively supported by Iran. Now there are reports that Syria is even transferring chemical weapons to Hezbollah. Those are the kind of allies closest to Iran, whether its president is called Ahmadinejad or Rouhani. Those are the kind of people Israel, the Middle East and the world are dealing with. Hezbollah, Hamas, al-Assad, chemical weapons, Israel a cancer cell that must be wiped off the face of the earth. But suddenly a deal is to be made, a compromise is to be reached. Suddenly, for whatever reason, Israel is the problem. We should not be led astray into thinking that Israel poses a threat to anyone when we are not the ones who are threatening anyone with annihilation. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement.
No questions.
Our secretariat was told that you would take some questions.
Okay.
Please. Why is Israel not ready to enter the NPT?
In order for us to enter the NPT, we would have to be facing a different reality, not the one we are facing right now. And that is the threat of annihilation, as I've told you, of destruction. And maybe this doesn't really seem reasonable to you, but we're not dealing with reasonable people. We're dealing with threat of destruction.